This is the Sunday edition of the 217 Recovery Podcast. Tonight's episode was carefully selected by Marney.
Could be little, could be big. But going back out is not the answer.
Sit back, relax, or do whatever it is you do, and enjoy Marney's Sunday night replay.
It might be childish, sure, but that's kind of what drugs do, you know?
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
And yeah, it was hell when he would go in there and go through detox, but I didn't care because I knew he needed to and I didn't want him to die. But maybe he wanted to die, but I'd heard him say enough times when he was sober that he didn't want to die.
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
3rd of November, 2020. This is the 217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield, which, by the way, is a rich person's name, and I should be a billionaire. In the studio with me, Marney Liston.
Hey there.
Marney, welcome.
Thank you.
If you're just tuning in, this is your first podcast ever. We are 100% professional. We take everything very serious, and we come at recovery with a doctor's approach. Just kidding. We're not doctors. We joke. We joke a lot. And I listened to a podcast today when I was transporting somebody. And most of the time, like 30 minutes in before we start talking about recovery, it was from January. And there was things that I still say to this day. You know, one of them was, well, now we're 30 minutes in. Let's get to some recovery. And that's just kind of a light way to kind of get to it. And, you know, yeah, we talk recovery and we're serious about recovery, but we also like to have fun in recovery. So if this is your first podcast, welcome. I know the app has been introduced to many people around Earth and in Michigan. So this is, again, your first podcast. Welcome. It was brought to me today. Actually, it was brought to my attention about the power of relapse. You know, that was actually a topic that somebody requested. And I was actually thinking about that earlier. I was talking with the guy who I was transporting and was talking about how there was a time in his life where he was in a place that he thought he had it. And he was like, Corey, you know, I really thought that this time was different, and it wasn't. And it's not that it's false hope. It's just when you're in a place and things are going good and you're doing the things you need to, and then you stop doing those things. Again, things you need to, not that you want to, but things that you need to. And eventually you'll change your mind into want to do those things. But like, say if you know, you're doing great. You know, you got 3-4 months clean and hell, even a year clean. And, you know, you're going to meetings all the time and say you move and then you move to a different place and you're like, well, you know, I don't really know where the meetings are at. And you just become lackadaisical, I guess you could say. You know, you're just like, well, I don't really need a meeting. And, you know, I'm going to one this Sunday, and then Sunday comes, you don't go. Or, you know, you start doing those things that you need to do. And you start thinking that those are things you want to do. Like, oh, you know, I'll go to one later. But no, you need to go to meetings. You need to keep on whatever you were doing that had you going in such a successful direction. Because you start taking those things away, man, it's just not good. Mm-hmm. You know, the power of the relapse is a monster. I had to deal with that yesterday, matter of fact. I was going through it, a tough one. And I mean, I could feel like it wasn't really thoughts of, man, you should go drink. But if I didn't go I had 2 meetings yesterday. I had an AA and an NA meeting. And they were back to back, which was really cool. But if I didn't go do that, that's something that I needed to do. Now, I could have just been like, you know, I'm not drinking today. But that could have been a start to something. That could have planted a seed where I went to the meeting. I felt better, you know. That's what they're for. And I'm glad I went. And like I said, I needed to. And it was like a feeling of, again, not like thinking about it, but I don't even know how to explain the feeling. Like, it's just like, oh, this old familiar frustrated feeling. Like, oh, yeah, and I needed to squash it. Mm-hmm. And better safe than sorry. Did I have to drive an hour and a half to go to this meeting? No, I probably could have found one closer, but I like to drive, and I don't know. It wasn't bad. It was nice and sunny. Mm-hmm. But, I didn't want the power of the relapse to like take over. And it starts with just little situations like that. Like if I would have just, well, whatever, I'm just going to focus on some work, or I'm going to, create some stuff for the website. Or, I could have used a, what do they call it? Oh, I'm so tired. I can't even think. The coping skill. I could have used the coping skill and designed some logos or something, but I wouldn't have dealt with the problem. I wouldn't have had it out there front and center. And I don't know. I'm just glad I got ahead of it. And looking back at it now, absolutely I needed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Relapses are sneaky. Relapses are sneaky and tricky. Mm-hmm. And especially like you were saying, if you're feeling some kind of way and, you're out of your routine, or, something happens and, you don't deal with it, you might not drink right at that moment, but if you don't kind of address it head on and go to a meeting or talk to somebody about it, get it out in the open, those feelings will, they'll stick with you, and something small might happen, and then, you're off to the races and you don't even know what happened. So
it builds up like shower scum.
Yeah.
Like if you don't clean it every once in a while, it's just going to be layers and layers and layers. And before you know it, toenails falling off or whatever happens if you do that stuff.
Yeah. And in hindsight, when I think about I've had a lot of relapses, but there's some where, I can feel it coming on. I could feel myself slipping, almost like not today, but, I don't know what and it's that obsession. It's a disease, and it'll get to you. And so if I would have probably gone and talked about it to somebody, at least opened my mouth and said, like, I'm thinking about this. Why am I thinking about this? So, I need to get this off my brain and not have it just sit there and linger and fester and trip me up like that. Because I failed multiple times because I didn't talk about it, and I didn't, bring it up.
Did you ever blame people? That was my thing.
Oh, I blamed anything and everything. Every time I relapsed, it was never just my fault. It was always something. It was somebody who did something to me, or some place that made me feel some kind of way. And, I had to get past I have to get past all that in general. Being in recovery and living in sobriety is just that. I've had to accept that I live my life every day without the use of drugs or alcohol. Alcohol being a drug, but I had to accept a lot of things. I had to accept that I'm going to deal with it. It's out there in the world, in my face every day. And for a lot of people in the world, it's a normal thing. It's a normal social thing. It exists. And in my world, I can't participate in it. And I have to be okay with that. And for some, and we talk about this a lot, is, getting to that moment in your life where I'm okay with that. And I don't know when it happened exactly. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly when that obsession was lifted, or when that, spiritual awakening, sometimes people call it. But I'm grateful.
I think it has to do with, like, you wrote a great blog the other day, and if you haven't read it, you need to, 217recovery.com. You can use the app. P.S. I'm grateful. It's called Get Honest. And the blog was really good. And I actually shared it with a couple people. But it's so right. You know, you have to get honest. And I think you're just talking about you didn't know when it happened, but I think it was when you decided to get honest with yourself. And when you can own your relapse, you know, that's a big step. Then you might think, well, I just relapsed. Yeah, but can you own it? Can you not blame it on somebody else? And sometimes, you know, we do this, at least I did, to hurt them back. You know, because I had 4 months of sobriety, and you know what? Because they did this, then I drank, and you know, it's their fault, and they're going to hurt. Well, newsflash, they don't hurt.
Yeah, nobody makes you relapse.
You hurt, and you look foolish.
Yeah.
And nobody else cares. No, well, I mean, somebody might care, but I mean, that person that you're going to get back at and hurt, you know, teach them, and look, it's their fault, and they're going to feel so sad, and they're going to feel like all this is their fault. No, they're not. No, they're going to eat ice cream and pizza and move on with their day and go, yep, did it again. Knew that was going to happen. You know, you got to stand up and you got to own it, and you have to get honest with yourself and go, look, first of all, that's very childish. But sometimes, you know, addiction, it has us in a place, you know, it messes with our brain chemistry. So we're not thinking clear. You know, I've heard it takes up to 5 years for you to kind of get all the stuff out of your brain and to actually think again and be clear. But so it might be childish, sure, but that's kind of what drugs do. You know, I mean, how many childish things did I do when I was drinking? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even want to remember any of them really, but you know, tons of them. So it's childish to be in that kind of, well, I'll teach them, and they're going to hurt because they're going to feel sorry because they're the one who caused this relapse because they did this and that. No, man, you're the one who controls how you feel. You know, it could be just the alcohol or the drug just playing games with you, like, you know, the addiction playing games with you. It's the power of the relapse, man. Yeah. It'll sound like a great idea, and we'll show them or we'll teach them, and like I said, ultimately you're just hurting yourself. You're setting yourself back.
Mm-hmm. And the other lie that we tell ourselves all the time when you're talking about the power of the relapse is when you're almost talking yourself into it, because you'll rationalize like, well, it's only going to be, I'll only do it once, just this once, or just this one weekend, or just this 1 week, you know, and whether people know or don't know, that's irrelevant. Because it never ends up being that. It never ends up being that. No. And you know, it's that whole planning for a vacation. I'm just going to drink on my vacation, and then when I get back, it's back to the grindstone.
Yeah, I deserve it.
It is never. That never happens. You know, and also I think too is reminding yourself, whether it doesn't have to be at meetings. It doesn't have to, you know, sometimes some people meetings isn't their thing. But is almost preparing yourself and reminding yourself, like, life is going to happen. You know, you're going to get curveballs, even before they happen. Could be little, could be big. But going back out is not the answer. Yeah,
but I'm different, just like everybody else. You know, that's one of my favorite things. And I used to think that, too. I'm like, yeah, that's everybody else. Everybody else, they need AA. I don't need any of that. No, I can do it. If anybody can do it, it's me. God built me different. I'm smarter. I can do it. Mm-hmm. No, I can't. I found that out so many times the hard way. And you realize after a while, like, it's like I wouldn't go to try to get on a horse because I don't know how to ride one. And I'd fall off, 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 and I'd fall off. And then finally I would go, you know what? I don't even want to ride that horse anymore. And I think that's kind of where I've come with this, you know, instead of going, hey, maybe I should get a saddle. Okay. And then I put the saddle on, and then what? I don't know how to strap it in, so I still fall off. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of like, I'll just drink beer. No, you're still going to fall off. And then what? I'm going to try it again, bareback? No, boom, fall off. I mean, that's a horrible analogy. Keep in mind, by the way, because people do ride horses. So, I mean, I don't know, like... But I'm just saying, like, it like Marney said too, it doesn't work, and it's not going to be ever just, oh well, there's just this Friday, and well, you know, I still have a little bit left, so it'll turn into Saturday. And, I could probably go to the store and get some more. I've only had a couple drinks. And that way Sunday it's football. So that'll be good too. And, Monday I'll call in sick. And the next thing you know, it's Thursday and you're like, I don't even like that job anyway. And it's stupid and I hate it.
Man.
And that job's making me drink because I'm so stressed because I don't know, that's not what I want to do. And
yeah.
You've been there before?
Oh, yeah. And then, or if, you do your little getaway thing that you've planned forever and you're miserable and you're like, yeah, that wasn't everything that it was cracked up to be. And then like a week later, you're like, well, I did it last time. And, I got back to work and I started my life again. So I'm going to do it again. And then those spaces are more and more closer together. And next thing you know, everything falls apart. So just side note, just check yourself because it's not worth it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, if you think you can do it, I mean, we're just trying to save you some time and some pain.
Right.
But, I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm just telling you. And it's not worth it either. Like for me, the reason why I had to get on top of that is because I knew I didn't like the way I was feeling. And like I said, I don't even know how to describe the feeling of it, but it was something that I had to address, and coping skills would make me cope with it. I don't know. I like doing things that I didn't realize I liked doing before. I like more like activities, or I don't like coping skills. I talked about that before because you don't deal with the problem. You're just going to put some tape on it. Like, It's going to fall off the wall, like that tape don't stick no wall. This woman told me one time. It's a Chinese restaurant. So, yeah, power of relapse. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. It doesn't mean you have to kick yourself. You will for a minute, but keep yourself surrounded by positive people and people who are doing what they need to be doing. There's a lot of fake people in recovery. A lot of great people in recovery, but not everybody in recovery is great. Mm-hmm. Some people, like, it's a game to them, and some people are really trying and just not getting it yet. But as long as you don't give up, and you're the only one who knows if you're for real or not, if you really want this good life that people talk about, it can be had. Mm-hmm. Just don't give up.
Yeah, for sure.
I could have given up. I wouldn't be on a podcast right now. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be driving people to and from treatment centers.
Yeah.
And the thing, and we're just scratching the surface and stuff that we're going to do. So I don't know. It's just amazing. It really is. And I could have given up. Oh, wait, they told me no. They laughed at my proposal. Yeah. I filled out that I wanted $280,000, and they were like, wait, what? You got a year clean? But I didn't give up. And, the people, they helped me, and I could have been bitter and mad, and, I was disappointed, but I don't know. Like, it was one of those things that now I just laugh at it, and you're like, well, I had to start somewhere. And I remember when we were going through that process too, and I was like, well, we might as well ask for the kitchen sink too,
Yeah.
Like, why not? This is the first time we're never doing this, so let's figure it out. And it's trial and error sometimes too. And, so whatever you're trying in your life, and if it doesn't work out, don't stop trying it. If you have a dream, if there's something you want to do, go after it with everything. And there's going to be doors that are slammed right in your face. There's going to be people laughing at you. But you know what? You can be laughing back in a couple of years. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep focused and do the things you need to do each day. And you add 365 days of those in a row. Mm-hmm. It's a long time. It's such a long time. And time goes by so slow, which is awesome. It's like fast but slow. Like it's slow when football season's like supposed to come, and I'm like, come on, football season. Then it gets here and it goes by fast. Mm-hmm. But then it goes by slow. And I look back, I'm thinking, man, that was like 10 years ago. And I'm like, no, that was about a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. But you start remembering the days, and they're not just all in a foggy haze of work, liquor store, sleep.
Oh my gosh, I know. Those days were just completely useless, completely. That's what I come across people on a daily basis, just checking in with individuals that are in recovery and ask them how they're doing. And of course, some of those people will be having a bad day and they'll be like, this and that. And, I feel like crap, or, this didn't go well today. And I always am ended with it. It's like, but you're clean. You're clean. You have that going for you, and that in itself is a total, triumph right there on a daily basis. And you have to remind yourself of that. And, it is work. It's a lot of work. And if you develop a routine, I talk about this all the time, but once you develop a routine and you get into the swing of things and, you're keeping yourself busy and you're feeling better. I don't care who you are. Once you get sober, you're going to feel better about you and where you're at. Physically, you'll feel better. You're more productive. And, that's another piece too that I thought about the other day was when you get sober and people say that they get bored, right? That they're bored because like you're not passed out all day long. I mean, there was times when I could sleep for like 3 days in a row, like straight up just sleep or have the TV on. And I was never bored because I was drunk or passed out. And that is no way to live. Like I would never, ever want to revisit that lifestyle, but once you get your routine and once you can start seeing these changes and start seeing these returns, that will happen. And it doesn't happen right away, but it's amazing. And it gives you that fuel to keep on going. And life gets, life's better. Life is good. And you can celebrate yourself and everything you accomplish and you be proud of yourself.
It's like that movie we watched. Well, there's a couple of movies we watched last week. And I can't believe I've never heard of the first one we watched. It's called Drunks. Mm-hmm. And it has that one guy in it. And it has actually a bunch of people in it. I can't remember that.
Who's the one guy?
I don't know. Isn't it Lewis or something? Rich? Is that one guy?
What else is he in?
I don't remember.
We watched so
He's
many.
in Curb Your Enthusiasm from time to time. Dark hair, mullet. Richard something, maybe. Michael, no, Richard. Anyway, that guy's in it. And then
look it up.
Calissa Flockhart, is that her name?
Oh, yeah,
She's in it. What's that dude's name, man? Well, the real reason I'm kind of trying to talk about the other one we watched.
The whole movie, the whole entire movie is essentially an AA meeting. Mm-hmm. And it's got all these different crazy characters in it. And it's a lot like a real meeting, actually. Kind of comical, because we go to them. So you can see all the little, quirks and stuff that pops out at you. But it's super entertaining. And I know who you're talking about
Richard
now.
Lewis.
Richard Lewis.
Yeah.
Big bug eyes.
Diane West, Faye Dunaway, Sam Rockwell, Parker Posey, Calista Flockhart, Kevin Corrigan, a bunch of other people. But there's a lot of people who are like, whoa, they're so young. I mean, it's from a long time ago. Yeah, I just can't believe I had never seen that. I guess it was started as a play called Blackout, and it ran on Broadway in 1990, and then I guess they're like, we need to make this into a movie. And it really is a good movie, and it's so true on how people react. And even in the end, when the dude's at the bar, he's going to shoot up some heroin right there, like he's that out of his mind where he's like, yeah, this is cool. And he was going through some hard stuff, he lost a loved one, and it just takes over, the power of the relapse. And that was kind of his thing too in that movie.
Yeah.
And you called it, you knew exactly, you're like, this is how it's going to end. And then I'm like, and then that happened. I'm like, damn. But the other movie though, that I really was trying to get to when we started talking about this, and I'm trying to see if it'll show me related movies, is the one with that lady. It was like Belle, the Life and Death. Oh wait, here we go. Also watched.
It's a documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was crazy. Oh, man.
Of Betty or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, like Addicted to Food. I need to watch that one. Now it's not showing up, but there's a... Oh, here we go. My Name Was Betty. Mm-hmm. The Life and Death of an Alcoholic. That was some sad SHI.
Yeah. I would suggest watching the Drunks
T-shirt
movie first.
Yeah.
But if you are on a kick and want to watch some recovery movies, because that one actually it goes into like the detail about what it does to your body.
Yeah, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting for me too, but they were just like, and compared to the man, the woman does, and the women. I'm like, I thought women were supposed to be equal.
Yeah.
Apparently your bodies aren't built like ours.
And it went through this woman's entire pictures of this woman. And
oh my gosh.
Her children were.
And we were sitting there watching it, and the daughter's like, yeah, mom hasn't let anybody in her house in 14 years or whatever, 20 years. It was something ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And she just won't let us come in. And I'm like, wait, you're talking about how frail she is. Like, what? I think it was you that said, like, what's she going to do? Like, tell you to leave? Like, I mean, you can just kind of push your way in. And holy hell, the squalor, this one, like, I felt bad.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm looking at them kids and they're all acting like, we cared about mom so much. And, no, you didn't.
She was a beautiful woman. And
no, you would have went in there and took her ass right out of there. I would have, my mom.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
nope, I don't care, mom. You got to go. We're going to get you some help.
You could have, I mean, her life was in danger just by living like that. And you should have seen the half gallons that were everywhere. Oh my gosh.
She stopped taking her trash out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was just a horrible way to die, man.
It was sad.
Yeah, it just was. But yeah, check that out. That's called, what did I say? My Name Was Betty. But Drunks is the other one we were talking about. And I just can't believe I've never even heard of them. But there's a bunch of movies. That's why one thing I do like about Amazon.
And then we also watched that Being Charlie movie.
Being Charlie.
Mm-hmm. The young guy who goes to rehab.
Yeah. I caught some of it.
It was good. It was also, it went through the whole, it's a young kid whose father's running for governor of California. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like this rich kid, and he ends up getting sent to rehab and breaks out. And then he ends up having to go back, because his parents make him. Meets a girl, and then he goes to, sober living, and and then he ends up doing this stand-up comedy thing after for one of the rehab events or something. But
I told you that woman was going to get him, or that girl. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's going to be a relapse.
They're entertaining movies, though.
Yeah, and some of that, I mean, like some of that I didn't get, was the whole, oh, my dad's running for governor, okay. Like, that's like, oh, there's one called The 13th Step. We should watch that tonight. Yeah, just kidding.
Sexual relationship.
Hey, Chris Goss. I miss Chris Goss.
I know, me too.
Yeah. So, yeah, the power of the relapse. I guess that was the topic tonight. And we didn't have to wait 30 minutes to get into it either.
Right.
So I'm glad you brought your A game tonight and you were serious, Marney. All this joking around.
I know.
Willy-nilly. That's what we used to say on the show. But thanks for listening. We do have the app. You can get it. It's pretty cool. It makes you a lot better at work, I think, is what I said the other day. It makes you more reliable. When you have the 217 Recovery app, it actually can make you invisible sometimes, too. So You just got to figure out the right code of things to hit in there. The big news that I was going to drop earlier that I didn't is we still have the signed picture of Nico that we put up for auction for $1 million. We still have it.
Okay.
So if you want to donate $1 million to 217 Recovery, we will get that to you. Also, I was going to give you a sweatshirt, I think, too.
Hoodie.
Just throw it in. Just throw it in there. But yeah, if you would like to donate, that's cool too. Amazon Smiles is a very easy way to do it. If you're buying stuff off Amazon anyway, a little portion gets kicked back to us by Amazon. You don't have to, just keep buying what you buy. And if you want to help us out with items that we're going to take to treatment centers, there's a list. And you can get that list too at 217recovery.com. Look for the Amazon Smile that says list. And yeah, there's other ways to donate too if you want to do that on our website, 217recovery.com. But really do appreciate you listening. We appreciate your support. It means more than you'll ever know. People say nice things to us all the time. Read our blogs to 217recovery.com, or like I said, on the app, which is available everywhere. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Good night, everybody.